Have you been looking for an actually decent ultra-wide for gaming? Well, the GM34-CWQ ARGB version from Cooler Master might just be it. It's ultra-wide, 3440 by 1440p, so 21 by 9. It's got 144 hertz refresh rate, and the motion pixel response time, it's rated at half a millisecond. It's curved, 1500 radius. Curvature, oh my God, why is this one so hard to get out of the box? HDR 400, which isn't very good, admittedly. It's a VA panel. So there's like a lot of pros and also some cons with this one, so I don't know how to feel about it yet. However, at $650, it's actually kind of a good deal. At least it seems like it based on the specs on the box. It covers 98% of the DCI-P3 color space because it's got quantum dots. I haven't seen quantum dots on a VA panel, so I don't know what to expect really, but honestly, it should be okay at the very least, especially for that price. As for packaging, it's pretty standard. You know, you've got your foam case and then you've got a bit of a foam sleeve around the whole display. We've got our stand, we've got our base. I'm really excited. It's got RGB, but it's not on the back of the panel like most of these guys do it. It's on, whoop. I'm really excited because it's got this diffusion layer and it's all along the base instead of being on the back. I don't know if that'll be a terrible idea and super distracting while gaming, but at the very least, you're not gonna get like, oh, it's got RGB on the back, and then you like can't even, it doesn't even reflect off the back because it's not very bright. I don't know. I'm kind of stoked to at least see it. Goes together pretty easy, just like most higher end gaming monitors. It's got my handy favorite captive screw. Look at that, I already look, it's the Cooler Master logo. I love it. We have a sleeved USB-C. No, it's not even USB-C. What the hell is this thing? This is like micro USB. What the I am genuinely perplexed. Why it's A to like micro? I guess I gotta read the quick start guide. Yep, that's all the things. Okay, whatever. We'll plug it all in and see where that cable goes. Kind of a weird choice. I don't know why they didn't just choose USB-C. The I/O on this thing is actually pretty good. I took a quick look earlier. That's why I got so excited about the USB-C. It can do DisplayPort 1.4 over it and up to 65 watts of power delivery. So you can just like plug a laptop into this thing and boom, you got a display out and you've got power. Oh, there's 4 speakers. I like how you can clearly see them. Wow. It's not very heavy, probably like 20 pounds or so. Let's get all these peels off for all this gamer RGB. It looks like there's RGB on the back of the display too. I'm not 100% sure, but if you look at here, I don't know why it's glossy for like no reason. I had to take peels off of it. So I'm guessing that this is also RGB. Kensington lock. These are headphone hangers and they like come out when it's on or something like that. Oh, USB-A, nice. I love it when they put USB-A ports either on the side or like right on the bottom or something. Anything where you don't have to like move the whole monitor and plug it in through the back is always good. Let me get more of these off. This comes with a lot of peels. Wow. There's a lot of peel around the bezel. This is like borderline annoying. This thing does have some like height adjustment and, well, oh, the spring's really light. I don't know, because like here, yeah, a little too light on the spring for the stand for height adjustment stuff. You might have to be a little, oh yeah, see look, I'm trying to put it midway. It just falls. All right, so you're either probably gonna have to use this thing all the way down or all the way up, and it seems okay. If you want height adjustment in the middle, you're kind of hooped, so that's definitely something to consider. Although I'm pretty sure when installing this, it looked like regular 100 by 100 VESA mount, so maybe just put it on an arm or a desk clamp or something. Maybe there's a spring somewhere to tighten, but it doesn't tell me in here, and damn it, I don't see one anywhere. So buyer beware, I guess. That's one, it's a really minor thing, but still though, you think if you get a height adjustable stand, you'd be able to adjust it exactly how you want instead of like, I promise it's not magic, I'm just letting it go. Plenty of I/O here. There's our power plug there. It's just a C13, so that's like really easily exchangeable with any other power cable. We've got HDMI, 2 ports. I think they're just HDMI 2.0. I don't think it's 2.1, but it's not 4K 120, so who cares? DP 1.4, USB-C, and USB-B, and a headphone jack. The one really cool thing about this USB-C, like I said, is it's got the display port and the power delivery. So you can just like plug a laptop into this thing and all of a sudden it's your secondary display. You don't need it anymore, take the laptop away, you're good to go. Other than the lack of good height adjustment, the stand is actually pretty decent. It's got a lot of swivel, a fair amount, honestly, for a display this size. And then you can like tilt it up and down to angle it better at yourself, especially if it's all the way up or all the way down. But other than that, it's not bad. It's a little, well, it's actually not too wobbly. The display itself is a tiny bit wobbly onto the stand, but the stand itself is pretty sturdy. What I really want to do though is I want to see this RGB, but I guess we're going to do that after a word from our sponsor, UGREEN. UGREEN's new Nexode 140 watt charger provides fast charge times for all your devices, all in one package. The charger includes 2 USB Type-C ports and 1 USB-A port, so you'll be able to charge each of your devices without the need to bring multiple charging bricks. And with the Power Delivery 3.1 built in, it can even charge a MacBook Pro 16 from 0 to 60% in less than 35 minutes. Learn more about the Nexode 140 watt charger from UGREEN in the link in the description below. I'm not entirely sure what the point of this thing is. It looks like it's just an indication light because it's definitely not the power button. That was on the back with the navigation nipple that we know and love. A rubberized one at that, so it seems like that's a bit of a trend that everyone's kind of adopting, which I am a fan of. I don't like the RGB on the stand. In the pictures, maybe because it's eye level, it looks like the bottom diffusion around here is a lot more prominent, but instead all you really see is this inner light here. I don't really see this unless I like lean all the way back or something. I think it's fine. The problem is when you're like sitting right here, it's just this whole thing just completely goes away and then all you see is this inner light. I don't hate it. I'm actually okay with it. It's just, I was expecting something a little nicer. From the pictures I saw, it looked more like the bar came all the way out to the outside area of the stand, and instead it's very inside. I don't know why they did that. Maybe to make it less distracting?
I think if you took it off the desk pad.
If you take it off the desk pad, it does glow and reflect a little bit off the table underneath, but I'm still not sold on it. All I wish for is I wish that their diffusion bar went further out and fully seated with the rest of the stand. It kind of bothers me that I've got this gap here. Like, even if it's not about RGB, I don't like that there's this gap here. It doesn't even have to do with the RGB. It's just, it feels weird. It feels like it's got this huge base of a stand, and then there's a bunch of wasted space that isn't there for stability. So I'm not against it. It's perfectly fine. It seems relatively stable. It's just, you know, the arm that it's on that's kind of not. It looks okay. We've got a 1500R curvature, which isn't like super aggressive, but it's enough that you notice it. And it's enough to make a 1440p ultra wide feel a little better when you're like this close to it. Advanced display settings. We don't want 60 Hertz, we want 144. All right. We've got 8-bit color with YCBCR 422, which actually isn't bad. I was kind of expecting 420. DCI-P3, quantum dots. Oh yeah, let's check out those quantum dots though. And the HDR400. I'm very curious to see how this experience is on a VA panel. Cool, all right, there we go. Yeah, David wanted me to turn the brightness up a bit so we can see the screen better. So we're gonna try Cooler Master's Master Plus Plus. It's like Master Plus and then a plus symbol. I'm not a big fan of the name, but hey look, it detected our monitor right away. We can change the RGB right here. Is it RGB on the back? Or were those just glossy? Nope, they're just glossy parts of plastic. I don't know why they did that, but whatever. Let's see how this goes. Hey, look, the RGB works. Reload. What's recoil? They just go 2 around, okay, breathing. Classic breathing. Refill. Oh, it's like slowly fills up. Actually, like refill, that's pretty cool. And then you do custom stuff too, where you can adjust all the individual LEDs it looks like, which is actually great. Brightness, so you can dim them too. All right, yeah, max brightness, crank it, and that's it. Is this only the lighting? Cooler Master, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, it's cool and it's great that you can let me change this with software, but I would have totally expected, like if I'm already getting an app for this, I might as well be able to do OSD stuff with it, but maybe that's a thing. I don't see it anywhere readily apparent. Yep, this is all system config, the rest is lighting. Cool, all right, well, that's that. Well, it's just for RGB, I guess, so thank God they've included a navigation nibble. We're using our display port. That's great, video adjust. Oh yeah, there's speakers on this guy, like we saw earlier. We're not gonna use them because monitor speakers are typically just not very great, but at least it's got them so you can use them in a pinch. Picture mode, standard. Yeah, we probably just want standard. Oh, movie. There's no sub options with movie. So let's just go standard, and then you can change black stabilization, advanced DCR, blue light filter, recall, sure. Another minor issue, there's a bit of a delay when pressing the button for the OSD. So if you press it, just give it a second instead of pressing it twice like I'm doing, or it's just gonna go away right away. Contrast, brightness, brightness. That's why we came here in the first place. Crank it, baby. Is that bright enough for you, David?
Yeah, that's plenty bright. All
right, well, it's at 100, so I hope it's good. Color domain, auto, RGB or YUV, that's cool. Ah, you can change the gamma too. All right, color space, sick. Let's go to DCI-P3 for no real reason. You probably just want to leave it on auto so it'll smart switch for you, but like, it depends on what you do. If you're a content creator, then you probably just want to leave it in DCI-P3 or Adobe or whatever. It's pretty cool though. They have BT2020, DCI-P3, Adobe RGB, sRGB. Like, it's not a bad system. I don't like how it just went away on me when I wasn't touching it for just a few seconds. Sometimes you want to read things. Then you got image, like sharpness and aspect ratio and some overscan stuff. FreeSync. Oh, we want to turn FreeSync Premium on. That's all right. We're checking out the HDR right now. It's got HDR400, which isn't great. We're not getting that crazy banding that we saw with NZXT's monitor. It's not really dynamic though at all. This really just kind of looks like SDR. So I'm not even entirely sure that it's actually on, and I'm kind of willing to trust the panel at this time when it tells me that HDR is off. As you can see, HDR is grayed out. We've tried turning off AMD's FreeSync Premium. Windows is set to HDR, and I'm in a standard picture mode. This should kind of just work, and I'm surprised that it doesn't, because to be honest, this does kind of look like SDR to me. I might be able to tell a bit better once we try gaming, and I can actually like basically create bright spots and everything to see if it looks like it's popping. But the reality is with HDR400, you're barely going to be able to tell anyway. There is a possibility that to turn that on, we're just missing something, or it's a firmware update that we can't find yet. But the reality is, not many people actually update the firmware on their monitors. You should, but people don't. You know, they buy them, set them up, and leave it. But it's often kind of a pain to do so in the first place. We had the audio on for a different video, and we didn't think the speakers sounded that bad, actually, so we're gonna try them out. The bass is better than I expected. It's not good, but honestly, if you need speakers in a pinch, this thing isn't bad. I'm actually pretty okay with the speakers that you get on the bottom of this thing. That's cool. Okay, let's check motion clarity though. With VA, I always kind of worry about overdrive and whatnot, so let's check the UFO test. I also want to check some viewing angles. It's not as bad as you'd think though, honestly, from different angles. It could be a lot worse. There is color shift, but it's not the worst. It's doable. You could be watching content from like over here and it would look perfectly fine to most people. Ooh, I think I see a little bit of overdrive on the edge of the UFO. It just looks more blue than it should, but that's pretty minor and it still looks okay. Don't use movie mode. I don't know why it did this, but we switched to movie mode and it's just like really bad contrast. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna try turning HDR off in Windows and see if that helps at all. Nope, still really bad. The black levels aren't, like in terms of clarity, it's not bad, especially considering like the other stuff we've been looking at recently. It's actually pretty decent. Looks pretty much the same as it did earlier. So the main difference I see is black level. Am I crazy? Or like, so look at this car, right? Looks pretty bright. And then if I look away and look back, do you see it darken? Am I just crazy? Yeah, it looks pretty good though. I mean, it's definitely not the best HDR experience I've ever had. And Destiny says HDR is on, Windows says HDR is on. The only thing that says it's off is the panel, and I don't understand why. But I mean, yeah, for HDR 400, this is pretty much what I expect. Basically, SDR gets a little brighter. Oh yeah, there's no local dimming zones or anything like that, so I expect this part to be like particularly, yeah, like this should be getting way darker around him. This looks like a big circle instead of it fading away around it. Yeah, the whole thing was illuminated. It's not the best experience. If you're looking for an amazing HDR experience, you're just not gonna get that here. But the reality is, at the price point, it's not bad. I mean, if you wanna spend 650 bucks and you wanna get a really good, like actual gaming monitor, ultra wide, you want most of the bells and whistles, but you're not really sold on HDR, honestly, this is probably the display for you because everything still looks pretty good. The motion clarity isn't bad. I expected it to be a lot worse, but I guess VA has really come a long way in the last few years. Just looking at it right now, I can't see a huge difference with quantum dot being there, but the reality is they really do help it hit that 98% coverage of DCI-P3. That's really impressive. It's probably not color accurate out of the box, but because you have access to that gamut and there is color correction stuff, you can tune it yourself to get everything down to probably a pretty good average Delta E. I think that if you're looking for your next gaming monitor and you really want ultra wide, you really want like at least 1440p, and you really want 144 Hertz, this is probably the display for you. Sure, we encountered a couple quirks, but you know, they're not that bad, and the reality is that there's a good chance that it just is our panel and not the entire run of them. There you have it, it's the GM34-CWQ ARGB version from Cooler Master. Pretty decent monitor. If you want to check out another one on ShortCircuit, maybe look at the NZXT Canvas. That one was nice, but it had some issues with HDR, so I don't know. It's up to you. Shop around, and thanks for watching.